Welcome to Shooting the Shift with Marilyn and Elizabeth. These light warriors, both native New Yorkers, walk their walk, talk their talk, and keep the real in the deal. This dynamic duo joined forces to assist you through your transformational journey one step at a time, empowering you with spiritual tools you can use in your daily life. Each show begins as a conversation creating an opening for spiritual connection. There are never any scripts, and Spirit is always illuminating the way. And that's when the shift hits the fan. The magical messages of the ancestors, spirit guides, and Gaia are respected, honored, and always given sacred space to communicate. Join Marilyn and Elizabeth as they shake shift up and do what they do best, speak from their hearts.
Welcome, everybody, to Shooting the Shift with Marilyn Maldonado. That's me. This month, Elizabeth Lindsay, my co-host, sacred sister, and friend, has been exploring the UK for approximately 3 weeks now and is having an amazing experience. Elizabeth is also attending the Arthur Findlay Spiritualist College while visiting the UK, and she is definitely checking off several of her wishes off her bucket list. Wow, when she returns to Shooting the Shift, I'm certain that she will have lots of exciting stories to share with us in July. I'm excited to hear of all her adventures. I was wondering today, what's going on? I was feeling like so, energetically, so supercharged, so overcharged. It's been going on for a few days now, but today was like, wow, such an accumulation. And my producer, when I asked, he said, oh yeah, we have 5 stars lining up and the supermoon and the solstice. And I was like, oh, Elizabeth usually, cues me in on these things, when I'm talking to her about how I feel energetically, in this, environment of ours. And so I am thankful to hear that this is the reason why I feel so, wow, so supercharged. I really feel like this exciting energy, just like riding through me. I was a little concerned, and now I'm like feeling like, oh, okay, that's what it is. All right. Okay, that works, Well, anyway, I am in deep gratitude to have been given the opportunity to step past my fears and to step up and show up on radio land, as I call it. I always have a lot to share, but I usually need a prompt. I truly love sharing information regarding the work I do as well as answering questions. Especially when given the opportunity to do my medicine work. And so, that's where I get more excited and I feel really full and I feel like I'm doing what I've been called to do, working with others, for my expansion and for theirs as well, right? So today, I would love the opportunity to assist callers, with a mini session or to answer any questions that they may have, regarding themselves or even regarding my practice. So if you're feeling inspired to shift some energy today or to maybe get a little bit of information as to why maybe you might be feeling the way you've been feeling, call me at 1-202-570-7057 during this show. Okay, remember that your call doesn't have to be based on today's topic. So it just needs to be, whatever it is that you need it to be. So the number is 1-202-570-7057. So, where do I start? This has been a truly interesting month for me. I have taken the leap of faith to continue doing the show by myself until Elizabeth gets back in July. And I do have to tell you, there have been those moments where I go, oh my God, should I just do a repeat show? And then I go, no, you're not doing that, because, I've been given a platform where I'm able to share some of my experiences with all of you. And I hope that you are enjoying it or at least getting a little bit of information to fill in some of the blanks, It does feel a little odd for me to talk on the radio all by myself because I'm used to speaking with a group where I'm able to see people, face to face or answer questions or even over the phone. But there's that, back and forth dialogue, communication. And Elizabeth and I are usually on Zoom when we're doing the show, and that helps a lot. Of course, we put little jokes out to each other, and yeah, and it feels really, natural. And so, I wasn't sure of what topics to select for the month, and I wasn't even certain if I could talk for an hour. Now, don't get me wrong, I can talk for a long time, but it helps to have a partner to encourage and stimulate the dialogue. Those who know me know that when I get started, I just keep going. Yet I feel that it's not what happens when I'm on the radio. I have discovered that I need the direct connection of another to fully connect. Um, I'm always learning, so this is yet another situation where I may need to dive a little deeper to discover the whys. You know, um, and during this process, I've recognized that it's time for me to get back out to doing group sessions and individual sessions in a larger scale again. Because during the pandemic, I only focused on family and friend sessions exclusively, or, friends of friends. It's time for me to shift and to assist others in their shifting as well. This is how I feel, right? I feel that it's time for me to drop back in, to accept the change that I can feel moving through the collective energy, and to assist in, just like in creating a gentler shifting, because there's like the energetic superchargers are already here and many of us are feeling it in many different ways. I get calls where people are feeling overwhelmed, distressed, or in discomfort, and they don't know or understand why they feel the way they do. They feel disconnected from the source where this energy, the energies that are surging through are usually, it's usually the awakening of an old story that has not been deactivated, but is dormant and still holding the charge that was triggered by the new event. So this is an important thing to recognize, to know, because it'll help, right? It'll help when you're feeling, a certain way, to be able to get a better understanding as to why it is that you're feeling what you're feeling. Maybe connecting it to something. What does this feel like? Does this feel like, a different time, where was there another time where I felt this, same feeling or this same energy? These are important questions to ask. If, it's like an exposed wire that we aren't aware of its existence. Whenever it gets tapped, you know, it'll pull out a certain current. It'll put out that current, so it's like if it gets triggered, then, it's like activated. And that's when the overwhelm, the discomfort, distress energy surges to the surface to be identified, so we can identify it. And so the exposed live wire is looking for the connector, and the connector is this, it's the story, it's the old story, that is actually vibrating in that frequency. So the vibration is in this new current. How would I say, what's happening in this moment, but it's coming from the frequency of the old pattern or the old story. And sometimes it's surging from the energy of the collective. And that's why we need to be mindful of what we focus upon, the type of information we allow ourselves to collect and to absorb. We may not be aware that we are not simply observing, but that we are absorbing the energy of the experiences, the experiences that are out in, in the environment, in our environment. And so we just take it in. And sometimes, we just collect it and we just keep it, and it becomes a part of our story. we may sometimes tap into feelings from past experiences coming up to the surface. And this is important because, we can get to the place where we can reveal it and dismantle it and possibly transmute that into blessings to assist us in what I consider the rediscovering of the self of this 2022 year. That 2022 is the year for us to be rediscovering the self. It's a journey that, although not everyone is consciously aware of, it is still vibrating in the energy of the collective. So, yeah, I think about it and I say, you can become more aware of your feelings and your thoughts. For that's how you will be able to recognize the frequencies, right? In order to recognize the frequencies, we have to know how it is that what it is that we're thinking and how it is that we're feeling. Some moments, may be presented through trigger events in the present moment, which bring up feelings from an old painful experience, which may cause us to re-experience the feelings from the past event, right? So in a current experience, we can be reminded, right, of how we were feeling back then. And this is what we need to be, paying closer attention to during these times, right? The stuff that is surfacing, the information that wants to be revealed so that it can be dismantled. Yeah. And I truly believe that we are ready and strong enough to face our greatest fears, to surrender the emotional supercharged emotions that have held us in limbo for so long, too long, right? We are courageous and resilient. And I want you to know that if you're listening and are waiting to hear the message to move forward in your work, in your journey, well, today's the day when you will hear me call you in so that you can step closer into your calling. Be not afraid to step out of the image you may have created to feel safe. It no longer fits you. This image is an old image and it's no longer, it just no longer fits the who that you are becoming. It's time to step forward, to do your work. It's time to step into your power, to be seen, for there are many awaiting for your frequency, to assist them into their own awareness of their own powerful light. So be not afraid of what others might say about you. Release the need to have approval. You already have approval. It doesn't come from others. It's an internal knowing. Tap into your compass and move to the rhythm of your heartbeat. I believe these are important things to recognize, to just hold on to understand that as I'm saying these things, and if you can really feel connected to them, embrace them, because this is your time. This is your timing. Release the need to be accepted. Just flow and allow yourself to share your magic. For many are waiting, and they have waited long enough. Release the belief that you must be perfect and know it all. For no one is perfect and no one knows it all. We are all learning and sharing. Tap into your intuitive self and flow from there. And okay, you might ask, what does that mean, intuitive self? How do I know if it's my intuition, fear, or ego directing me? Well, if it's fear, or it feels like fear, ask yourself, what am I afraid of in this experience? If the fear is irrational, it's just fear. So dismiss it and then decide, knowing that you're on the right path. We need to identify fear, the ego, and what is into our own intuition to strengthen our ability to move forward in our lives. So checking in with our feelings is key to better understanding our decision-making process. Learn how to identify your intuition versus fear and ego, because that's going to help you. to make decisions and feel, how would I say, that you would feel more connected to those decisions and fearless in them. And I think it's important for us to remember that, the information that we share with others is valuable and is needed. Today's topic might just be a place to begin trusting ourselves, right? Because creating an altar can give you a place and a space where you can rediscover your desires, your hopes, your dreams, where you can ask for assistance and clarity, right? You need the clarity to enable you to move into your power. You can create an altar with the intention to release yourself from all that no longer serves your highest and greatest outcome in this lifetime. You can do that by placing the intention to flow in the frequency that supports and serves your highest and greatest outcome for yourself and others. And my prayer is that for you and for me and for everyone, may we feel safe and protected and secure and joyful, comforted, loved and honored and treasured, and self-compassion. May we be kind, gentle, and loving upon our journey. This is my prayer, right? I believe that we will be moving to a break. So I'll see you when we come back.
Bringing a more conscious lifestyle to your world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM. Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network.
My name is Victor Furman. Some call me The Voice. I've always been fascinated with human nature, spirituality, science, and the crossroads at which they meet. Join me Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio, and we'll explore these topics and so much more on Destination Unlimited.
So I'm a cat, and I just moved in with this new human, and she's got this little toy she's always playing with, all day long. Tap, 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 bloop, bloop. She can't put it down. There it is. Oh, and get this. She even talks to it. Last week, she asked it for Chinese, and guess what? Egg rolls showed up. Like magic. Humans have cool toys.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
Welcome back to Shooting the Shift with Marilyn Maldonado. That's me. Our topic today is creating, the magic of an altar, right? Because creating the magic in an altar, because it's so important sometimes to have, to know that there is power in doing, creating sacred space and in doing that, that's when we do that, we're actually creating an altar, right? Because an altar can be created to be a visual sacred space where you reconnect with your dreams, desires, to remind yourself of your intentions and to ask for assistance as you need along the way. So, let's talk about the possibilities of, creating altars, right? Because there's so many different forms of altars that people can create. So when deciding the type of altar you're wanting to create, it's important to think about the space where your altar will reside and your intention for the altar. The space is really important because your altar it's your sacred connection. It's where you can reconnect, especially if you're feeling confused, lost, or just questioning. That you can sit, that you can, light your candle, that you can, fill that beautiful glass of water, and that, you can feel reconnected with the sacred. Altars can be created for different purposes. Altar, so the size of the altar isn't as important as the purpose for it. Some people also create mini altars to make them portable. I've seen this. I mean, they carry a portable altar. I don't personally have a portable altar, but I do have a few altars in my home. I believe that how you create your altar is a very personal event, and it's very sacred, and it really is for an individual, right? It's your individual creation. I'll give you a few possible ways to create your altar, but you can pick and choose any parts and just create it as you feel your heart directs, right? Because I really believe that it's important to make it your space. That when you look at it, just by looking at it, you feel like joy and love and like just that that you are seeing something that is so sacred and that it holds so much love and power for you. It's also important to remember to set your intention for your altar. The intention is really important. What purpose will it serve? So the first thing I would say is identify a sacred space in your home and consider what's sacred to you, right? Because what's sacred to me may be different than what's sacred to you. So again, this is a very open way of doing yours. I'm just giving you information, and you can pluck out whatever you want, put in whatever you want, add things, delete things, do it your way. Make it so that it says you, right? So that when you see it, you can see you in your altar, So, the location of the altar, of course, is important because it's a space where you may be wanting to sit in meditation and gratitude and even to reflect, right, upon your day or, your life or your experiences, right? So gather items that inspire and energize you that you may want to place on your altar. You could place things like candles, photos, crystals, personal items, things that make you smile, written letters that you feel so connected to, and that, just hold a beautiful power source for you. You can put mantras, you can put stones, you can include flowers and water, essential oils, different types of perfume. Sometimes you might want to put a certain perfume that, depending on the altar, right, that you really love to smell, like that you can say, oh, I understand that scent is just so amazing. There are no limits, to what you can put on your altar. It's a feeling thing. You may include whatever you feel will add more positive energy to your altar. It should feel so good that you feel called to sit by it, to rebalance and reconnect. So creating a sacred space where you can rebalance your energy is really important. So I made a list of some things you might want to include. Remember, choose which feels good to you. You do not have to include them all. Be discerning in your choosing and what you will place in your altar. For this is your altar and no one else's. And sometimes people put it in a very private space because sometimes people don't want to, have activity around the altar. They might just want to have it where It's just them and their altar. So, okay, let's begin. So you can include items that represent the elements as well, right? So candles are one of the most important elements to add to your altar because they honor the element of fire. And depending on, the way you want to set up your altar, or if you are doing a ritual, or which you may use tea lights or a 7-day candle. I use a 7-day candle for my ancestral altar and tea lights for all the others. But you can choose to do whatever you choose to, right? You can place the candles in a small bowl of water for safety purposes, right? Because, when you light a candle, you just want to create a safe space as well. And if ever you need to step away from your altar and you need to snuff the flame out, but do not blow your candle out unless you want to blow your intentions away. So if you choose, or if you wish, you can include other items to represent elements, and this will surely add more alchemy to your altar. You can add feathers to represent air and the east direction. They also represent maintaining your own balance throughout your journey, no matter how intense the winds are. I've been honored with the gift of feathers along my walks. And dear friends, I'm certain that you can purchase feathers or go on beautiful walks on a search for a feather today, right? Set that intention. You can place a glass or a bowl of water, which represents the west direction and absorbs any negative energy within your environment. You can pour out the bowl of water after each ceremony and refill it with fresh water. Whenever you're doing the altar work, begin with fresh, clear water. I clear out the water on my altar every day. Every day I put fresh water and I re-purify the space. You can include pictures and symbolic representations. So you can add pictures or the symbolic representations of your spiritual guardians, like ancestors, elders, ascended masters, those who support you in your journey. If you have any sacred statues you want to add, you may place those items in the center of your altar as well. You may also include crystals, herbs, and flowers. Now, the crystals are a great addition to your altar. Place healing crystals and stones on your altar to harness the energy of the healing intention you are calling in. For example, if you're trying to invoke the energy of divine love, rose quartz and pink tourmaline would be sacred stones you would add at this time. Fresh flowers and plants are also another great way to establish the energy of the divine creator living earth on your altar. You may wish to research different plants and open your altar up to a whole new experience. You may decide to dismantle your altar and redo it and reset an intention. You can do that. I feel that is acceptable. You may also, when setting certain items on your altar, use your senses and follow up with a pendulum, right? Because I use a pendulum to check the energy of the altar. I love using the pendulum because I usually get such a powerful spin that I can see and feel the momentum of what Spirit and I have just co-created. I hope you have a power-filled experience creating your altar. I will name a few altars, because I think that you can decide which ones you may want to include or create. And my prayer is that you trust your process in creating this. When you're using a pendulum, I think if you haven't used a pendulum, I will tell you how I use my pendulum. People use it very differently, so you don't have to go according to me, but just how I use it, I'll share with you. So my pendulum, I having trained it to me, to my energy, and therefore I recognize the actual spin and what it is actually saying, right? So a counterclockwise spin means to me that something is not balanced, that the energy is not balanced in this space. And when it's spinning clockwise, then I know that the energy is perfect, right? And then there are those moments when it's, you know, so maybe it's just a maybe this is not where this should go. And so I may move something or, so these are the ways that I use my pendulum. And usually what happens is after I create the altar, I place the pendulum above the altar, and then I allow it to do its spinning. And usually the spins are like, my goodness, it's almost like it's propelling, like it'll just fly off of my fingertips. And I hope you have that experience because it really is a beautiful experience to have. And I'm sure that you will by using the pendulum. Now, when I create an altar or when I'm setting an intention, I always ask for the highest possible outcome. I'm not directing the outcome. I'm asking for the highest possible outcome. So for example, the altar honoring your inner child. This altar may be set up with the intention to work on a certain belief system that you may be wanting to work through. And then you may dismantle it or you may just change it up, right? This altar will be evolving as you work through many of the issues or concerns that you're wanting to have a better understanding around. You may decide to place a photo of yourself at the age you're wanting to work through. Some crystals, candle, water, rose quartz, maybe something that you wrote or a letter that you wrote to yourself, to that younger you. The tea light, I always put a tea light and I always have water. Flower, you can put a flower or some candy, whatever it is that you desire, right? Or a written prayer. Your intention is usually to heal whatever the experience is that keeps coming up and that keeps keeping you stagnant in your energy. If you don't have a photo, you can describe yourself at that at that stage of your life. You can be, you can write like maybe you were curious or maybe you were fearful, whatever it is that you were in that moment. That would be, interesting, right? You can bring in a favorite toy, a song, light your candle every day and speak to the child who needs to be heard, to be held, to be loved unconditionally. So I have definitely an altar for my inner child, right? I have a photo of me as a student on campus that a student of photography stopped me and asked me if I would let him take a photo of me for his class. That was just me walking on the campus. And, I said yes to this individual because I felt it's his project. He found me on the campus and gave me the photo he had taken of me at a later time, right? And at that time, I looked at it and I thanked him. I thought I looked so sad that I couldn't see the beauty. I put it away, and about 40 years later, 40 years, really, I was able to see what he has seen in me that day on the campus. It was that determined, curious, spirited, no-nonsense young woman who believed that no matter what, she was going to make a difference in the world. When I saw her for the first time, I cried me a river because all I could see was how sad and alone I felt. I remember him telling me that I was so beautiful and that he wanted to capture it. And I'm glad that I kept the photo and that I didn't get rid of it. I love that young, power-filled young woman who at the age of 19-ish was stronger than she knew. I thought I was doing him a favor at the time, but he was blessing me. I just didn't know it at the time. And I think that's an interesting, experience that I had, because I at first with that same energy that I did when I was older, right? Because when I looked into her eyes, I could see it. I could see the power. I can see all, it just captured everything. And I thought, wow, what a blessing this person was to me. And so I want to thank him. I don't even know his name, but I want to thank him. And I'm sure that he can feel the energy of this, So we're going to move on to the next one, right? It's like honoring our ancestors. So this altar is created to honor our ancestors and to ask for guidance and assistance in our journey. Our ancestors are ready, willing, and very able to assist us, but we must ask for their guidance and assistance. We need to ask. You can use items that represent them as well as photos. You may wish to place a candle and water bowl or clear glass. Some people place an offering as a gift as well. My altar has photos, flowers, and water and candles, as well as trinkets that represent the love I have for each. And so we're going to take a quick break and we'll return with more altars.
Your conscious connection to a more mindful world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Ascending Hearts is no ordinary dating site, but a spiritual dating site with a purpose, to link you with your soulmate. We engineer the serendipity so you can trust that you will attune with someone that has the same matching vibration as you. Ascending Hearts, the conscious dating site for the spiritually aware. Try Ascending Hearts for free. ascendinghearts.com.
Imagine yourself being transported to India, to the banks of the Ganga and an ashram in Rishikesh. Visualize that you are welcome to satsang with an American sannyasi who shares the wisdom of her guru. Your visualization has manifested. Join Sattvi Bhagawati Saraswati for inspiration and transformation every Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio.
If I could be you,
and you could be me,
for just 1 hour.
if you could find a way,
to get inside.
each other's mind.
walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
We've all felt left out. And for some, that feeling lasts more than a moment. We can change that. Learn how at belongingbeginswithus.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Welcome back, everybody. Okay, so we were talking about the honoring our ancestor altar, and what I place on mine, and all the things that you can possibly place on yours. Now, you can get really creative with this, right? I think it's important to, place trinkets that that connect you, to your ancestors, and it's a really powerful altar. So in creating it, that you're able to feel so connected with each and every one of your ancestors, and that they recognize you, right, in the honoring of them. And so I'm going to go on to the next one, which would be and this one came to me, and it was just so interesting when it did, because I could actually see it. So it's the upper, middle, lower world altar. And how I identify the upper, middle, lower world altar is I identify the lower world as your growing up years. And then I identify the middle world as your present state of being, where you are in this, today, right? And then I identify the upper world as your near future, my near future, right? This is how I identify it. You can actually describe it as past, lifetimes, present, future, however you desire to set this one up. I really believe that only you can create this, but I think that it's important this one had such a powerful experience for me, right? Because I was saying, wow, setting the intention makes it more power filled, right, in the space. And to set up an altar where you are honoring your growing up years and honoring where you are now, and then also honoring your near future, where you're heading, felt so powerful to me. In creating this altar, you can create it any way you like. You can create it with 3-tier level or not, right? You could do a 3-tier, or you can do, different sections. Like you can, start from the right, and then the middle and the, and the moving to the left, in the directions that you're wanting. Or you may define each level when you set your prayer into its intention, right? So place items that you feel good and generate good energy. You may decide to place soil and or seeds in the position of the lower world with the intention of purifying the soil. Note of gratitude for connection with divinity, right? This is just gratitude for connection with divinity. And you may decide to place small plants, prayer, or desire in the position of the middle world. This is this space to put it in. And in the upper world, you may decide to place a picture of your future desires or outcomes, like a vision board photo kind of, or not, right? With the words, this or something better. Because you don't want to limit, right, the expansion. We never want to limit our expansion, right? So we always want this, which is what we're wanting or desiring, or something better. Because when we don't write or something better, then we're only limited to that space that we have just envisioned, right? So I always say something or something better, because listen, if spirit has something that's so much better than what I can, think up here, I want that. I want that. Yes, right? I don't want to how would I say, dictate how things should turn out for myself. Always for my highest and greatest good, and for the highest and greatest good of others. Each level may have clear glass or bowl of water, a candle, a crystal. You decide which crystal for each level. And if you when I say a clear glass or a bowl of water, if you're doing it all on one, how would I say, on one platform, you might want to center the water and the candle, so that it can be shared with all the directions, right? With all the, the upper, middle, and lower. And so, yeah, I just got a little sidetrack here. So as you sit with your altar, set your intention to visit those areas where you may feel a little unbalanced, to allow yourself to honor your feelings at each level and witness how it may be affecting your judgment and movement at this time. So what I'm saying is that if you decide, right, today to create the altar where you are going to be honoring the upper, middle, and lower world, that you will sit with it. Set an intention. Once it's already done, you've already created this beautiful sacred space for yourself. But when you want to utilize it, right? When you want to sit with it, when you want to feel the energy of this beautiful sacred space that you have just created, or maybe you are curious about something, maybe something keeps coming up for you, something that you just can't seem to shake, right? It's no matter what you do, you know, it just keeps coming back. It just keeps presenting itself. Well, this is a good altar to sit with, right? You can sit with this one, or even with your ancestor altar as well. But you might want to sit with it and rediscover the energy. Where does that energy come from? Ask, you know, I want to know what I need to know in this space, time, and dimension to be able to move freely towards my goals, towards my dreams and my desires. This may be something that you may be wanting to ask, because you will have answers. You will tap in. And if you want to create like a journal as well, you can do that. Journal the questions that you have, and allow yourself to write the answers. Because when you're connected this way, in this sacred space, remember, you're dedicating your time and your energy in this space. And in doing so, you are activating the frequencies to reconnect with source, with the creator, with the power of all that is, and with your inner wisdom. And so these are the times, right, that you can actually, you know, I consider these sacred moments, right? So whichever altar you decide to create, I hope you have fun and enjoy your sacred space in those sacred moments of your divine connection. That you make the time, right, to clear the water, that you make the time to light that candle, that you make the time to sit in a silent moment for yourself, to rebalance, to reconnect, to you receive the answers that you are needing. Because sometimes I think that in this busy world that we're living in, we don't make the time to sit in sacred space with ourselves. And when we're able to create that sacred space and create those sacred moments, wow, that's when the magic happens, right? That's when we're so connected that we receive all the answers that are necessary for us in that very moment, so that we can move forward in our lives. And these are like really special ways of communicating. So sometimes we might, I don't know, how would I say? Sometimes we are so busy in the world and we just feel like we don't have time. We can't make the time. And what I say to you is make the time. Because when you make the time to ask, to sit in that sacred space and ask, you will have the answers that you probably could take years to receive. But if in that moment you're able to sit and you're able to connect, which you will, because you've created this amazing, energized, supercharged sacred space, right, where you can connect each and every time and achieve the answers that you've been searching for. I believe that this is important. I believe that I created this topic. And at first I was like, oh my goodness, an altar, topics on altar. But I thought about it and I said, a lot of people don't think about altars. They don't even think about creating an altar or the possibility of creating one, and the power that it holds for us. And I think that it's an important experience to have. And if you choose to create an altar today because of this topic that we're having, right? I think it's amazing. And I think that you're going to find it as an amazing, amazing, time that you can connect with such great power and such great source. So remember, you can it's your own personal altar. It could be an ancestral, family, healing altar, prayer altar, any type of altar that an inner child altar, any type of altar that you're interested in, you can do that. It's important that you set the intention, that you create the sacred space for it, and that you don't ignore it, right? That you use it, because it has a beautiful purpose and you set a beautiful intention with it. So I think it's important for you to, recognize that altars are really powerful, powerful place to source from. So hopefully, you got a lot out of this, and you heard things that maybe you didn't hear before, right? Or maybe you did know, but thinking back, you can say, wow, you know what? I have forgotten that I have the power to do just that. Create a beautiful altar where I can reconnect in a sacred space. Yeah, so that is what I have for, creating altars. But, I want you to remember that every thought that you think is already an affirmation, and that you are simply affirming your truth, because we are creating altars, and it's important to recognize that the thought process is really important, right? And how we create things, come from the affirmations that we make. So if we set beautiful intentions and we ask for assistance, then that's part of, the direction where we are heading, And so, create affirmations that are going to fill you as well, throughout your day. Like, thank you for the gift of life. Thank you for the miracle of life that I am, and for the miracle of life that I see all around me. Right? Thank you for the abundance that I am, and the abundance that I see reflected all around me. I let go of what has gone before, that I may open myself to the power of love. Or maybe even today I shall re-examine my feelings about relationships and release what no longer is my truth. So, so I kind of like am thinking that, I would love for everybody to create an altar, right? Just create an altar. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be any size, right? It can be small. It can just reflect you, right? You can reach me at universalsacredmedicine.com or Instagram.com/Marilyn Maldonado, IG, or my Facebook page, Facebook.com/Sacred Medicine. I thank you for spending the time with me today, for allowing me to share this sacred space with you today, and for making this a really powerful time for me. And Elizabeth Lindsay will be back with us, not next week, not next Wednesday, but come July, she'll be with us. And I can't wait to hear her stories. So thanks again. I'll see you next Wednesday. Blessings, love, and light.